From rolling tumors to roaring lampooners, the Tigers on a Roll show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, Auburn family, to the Tigers on a Roll podcast. And thank you to everyone who got the last video to 7,000 views. And all the folks that subscribe to the channel are very much appreciated. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. Today, we have the 4-4 Auburn Tigers hosting the 2-5 Kentucky Wildcats right here in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And Auburn is coming off of a much-needed 33-24 victory over Arkansas, and they are a 2.5-point favorite heading into this evening's matchup with the total set at 45.5 points. The stat line tells a very interesting story. Auburn's defense has been stellar this season, ranking 28th in defensive points per game at 18.6. And you can contrast that with Kentucky, who is struggling on the defensive side of the ball, giving up 30.1 points per game. And I think this is another get-right game for Auburn. With Ashton Daniels out there, they should be able to move the ball up and down the field. Hopefully this week they are scoring touchdowns and not just converting field goals. But I've got some players to watch, and for Auburn, that is Jeremiah Cobb. He is averaging 89.6 rush yards per game and 6.1 per carry against a Kentucky defense that has struggled this season. Look for him to carry a heavy workload, control the clock and the line of scrimmage, and I'm thinking he gets 20-25 carries today, which after the last time I said that, he got that right on the dot. So look for him to be toting the rock a bunch today. And on the other side of the ball for Auburn, I've got Xavier Atkins, who's been a monster on the defense. Atkins is disruptive, 54 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. He'll be a key in pressuring Kentucky's freshman quarterback today. And he's probably going to be flying all around the field, dragging people down all day long. I also want to give a big shout out to Debo for getting the Bronco Nagurski National Defensive Player of the Week after Arkansas, and being named college football's best defender for the month of October by On3. Big shout out to him. He's been doing a great job. He's been a huge pickup in the transfer portal for us, and we are all very proud of Debo Atkins. And we got Kentucky, 2 players to watch over there. Obviously, Cutter Boley, redshirt freshman, coming off a record-setting 5-touchdown performance against Tennessee. He passed for 333 yards in that game, I believe. And is certainly a young player who's clearly growing into their offense. And if Stoops can stick around, maybe he can do something with that next year. And if not, hopefully he finds a good home or is able to have a successful career over it. Kentucky with the Wildcats. And second for them, their defense is pretty terrible. So the second player is going to be on the offensive side of the ball as well, which is Seth McGowan. If he's fully recovered from his injury, and his name didn't appear on the injury report today or for today's game, but McGowan is their leading rusher, basically 80 yards a game and 7 touchdowns on the season. I think that he will be rather dynamic, and if they are trying to air it out, certainly it'll be a good change of pace for them to have their leading rusher on the field, trying to do something on the ground. I don't know if he's going to be able to against Auburn's defense, but they're going to try. And speaking of football, big news out of the football program. Going into today, it is official that Ashton Daniels is the starting quarterback. Daniels, a senior, came in last weekend in the second half and showed great composure. He helped lead the Tigers to a comeback victory that probably saved Hugh Freeze's career for another week, but his job at Auburn, certainly with the tumultuous coaching situation that has been going on around the nation. Ashton Daniels is to thank for that. And certainly Alex McPherson setting his career record of field goals made in a game. That is another one. That is another guy that can thank Ashton for having it together and leading that team. His 2025 stats are limited for sure, but that game, 6 of 8, basically 75% completion rate, 77 yards with a deep bomb to Eric, and he rushed 7 times for 35 yards, which in one half a ball. Those are pretty solid numbers. They came close to scoring probably 2 or 3 times. They just couldn't get it done, and we ended up with 6 field goals. But quarterback rating is certainly solid at 155.9. I mean, the guy is right now light years more prepared to be playing in these games than Jackson, and the coaching staff saw that this week and has decided that Ashton Daniels is going to be the face of the Auburn Tigers, at least against Kentucky. And hopefully he can manage this game just as well as he did last week. He avoided turnovers in the brief stint that he had playing, but he is prone to them throughout his career. He's prone to interceptions, so don't be surprised to see one, but definitely keep an eye on his poise in the face of adversity if he does throw one, because he tends to bounce back very quickly from those. He is a very mature quarterback who has been around the block a few times. So keep an eye out for that with Ashton. The implied score today, I believe, is 28-18, just about. And that suggests by itself that Auburn outperforms their modest offensive output, that they've had this season. I'm going to say Daniels helps Auburn exceed those expectations. Auburn has a pretty elite, definitely an elite rushing attack, and a struggling Kentucky defense should allow them to operate rather freely. I'm calling for Ashton, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown just by himself, which is more points than we've scored like in the last 5 weeks for real. But he leads the Tigers to get over their implied totals. And earlier in the week on Monday's podcast, I thought we were going to have one passing, 1 rushing, and a defensive touchdown with 2 field goals from Alex to get Auburn to 27 points and win this game. I think that holds up, but mix in a couple more from Ashton for good measure. I think Auburn wins this one handily, and I have not picked Auburn to win in quite some time, and I was hesitant even about Arkansas. So we're going to get to some other SEC football odds here on Tigers on a Roll with some predictions, and we will look back at the basketball exhibition game. But first, a word from our sponsors. We have got up first, Brahma Marketing is your one-stop shop for everything from signs and apparel to high-impact vehicle wraps. As a certified 3M graphics company, they guarantee quality and durability. Promotional products, custom embroidery, commercial fleet branding, Brahma can do it all and at a great price too. They've partnered with Graystar Real Estate, Prisma Health, HD Supply, and more. Stop blending in and start standing out. Visit brahmamarketing.com to get started on your next project. War Eagle from the Orlando Auburn Club. Are you an Auburn alum or fan living in the Orlando area? This is more than just a club. It's your official connection to the Auburn family right here in Central Florida. The club hosts game watch parties, networking events, and participates in community engagements around Central Florida. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and online at orlandoauburnclub.org. Let's quickly run down the rest of the SEC slate for Week 10 and give a winner, what I think is going to be the winner for each contest. And let me pull that up here. All right. So we've got, or right off the rip, we've got a top 20 matchup. Number 9 Vanderbilt takes on number 20 Texas. I got Vandy winning this game, and they are having a storybook season. And the Longhorns are currently basically on life support for their CFP hopes and staring in the face of a third loss. So I've got Vandy taking that one in Austin, and we will see if Diego Pavia really has that juice. They're coming to the end of the season. Obviously, let's see if they can close it out in the last month. If so, Vandy stays definitely securely in the top 10 and has probably the best season that they have ever had on the back of Diego Pavia's play. I think that he takes down Manning and the Longhorns today in Austin, but we shall see. Number 5, Georgia at unranked Florida at the the world's largest cocktail party or whatever they got going on in Jacksonville. I'm taking Georgia in this game. I don't think Florida has the juice. They are playing their first game under an interim coach, and that they were already pretty unstable, but that certainly adds some instability. And Georgia has proven themselves to be elite, and they are maintaining their dynasty. I don't think today changes that whatsoever. I think Georgia takes the W here in Jacksonville. South Carolina at number 12, Ole Miss. This is an interesting one because I think Ole Miss is actually a little overrated. I think Trinidad's playing great, but I think Ole Miss ultimately is overrated this season. But we have South Carolina going to Oxford, and I'm picking Ole Miss to win this one. I think Lane Kiffin still has the juice. I think South Carolina, the wheels are falling off that program right now. I don't know that they're gonna. I think they might have a coaching opening at the end of this season. They have not put together a good squad, and they have not lived up to any of the expectations that they had going into this season. But the Rebels, anyway, are 12.5-point favorites. That certainly indicates some confidence by Vegas and the experts, and I agree with them. We are taking Ole Miss in this game in Oxford to take down the Gamecocks. And we have got number 18, Oklahoma, at number 14, Tennessee. Somehow Oklahoma's still ranked. I think they're overrated. I'm taking Tennessee in Knoxville. The Volunteers have a slight edge according to the odds, but they certainly have some home field advantage in this one. An explosive offense, no doubt about that. And they have not dropped a home game to anyone but Georgia since 2021. So going in there, they've got some voodoo over there in Knoxville. And I think that they are going to walk out of here and hand Oklahoma another loss, which I don't think Oklahoma expected to be losing games at this rate going into this season. And I don't, obviously, without it being said, I did it in the analysis for Ashton, but I'm taking Auburn. I am taking Auburn to beat Kentucky in Auburn tonight at 7:30 Eastern. I think that game will get out of hand for Kentucky. I think Auburn probably breaks 30 for the first time since the Cupcakes. So I am taking Auburn in that matchup, and I believe that that gets us across the SEC slate for today. And those are the Tigers on a roll picks, and lock them in if you want to, but don't come calling for money when you lose. How about that? Let's get back over here. Let's get over to the hardwood. Number 20 men's basketball team absolutely throttles Memphis in the exhibition finale, winning 100-71. They probably could have had like 106. I think they stepped off the gas a little bit, had some sportsmanship, and played just to finish out the last couple minutes. But they were on fire. An all-around dominant performance from the Auburn Tigers. The defense was the story, which was unexpected, certainly going into this. Even as Stephen Pearl had said, they are going to need to play some defense differently because they're a little smaller. They forced 17 turnovers in the first half alone, finishing with a 25-0 advantage in points off turnovers at halftime. Stephen Pearl was thrilled with the defensive execution and the response after a close loss in the first one against Oklahoma State, I believe it was. The Cowboys. And Keyshawn Hall led the charge there with 20 points, including a dunk and three-pointer to start the second half on a 7-0 run, forcing Memphis to take their timeout with like a minute into the second half. Absolutely incredible stuff. And freshman point guard Kaden Magwood chipped in with 15 points of his own on a hyper-efficient shooting day, going 4 for 5 from the field and 2 for 2 from 3. And the Tigers look locked in as Stephen Pearl gets his era kicked off, which the season officially begins on Monday night against Bethune-Cookman. So tune into that. I believe that is on ESPN SEC Network. Tune into that game and watch the Tigers hopefully repeat their 100-point performance. And doesn't look like they took a step back from last year. No matter what you say about these transfers and everything like that and the young team that we have now, it's a different look, but they're just as fierce and they're just as capable of going deep in March. So we're excited about that, but that's all the time we have for the weekend preview. We are expecting big things from Daniels and the Tigers today, and stay on a roll, and we'll see you next time.